Hey, what's up? Nick here, the dev of Inspire, the upcoming top-down action RPG that I'm working on for the past 3 years, and I'm back with a new devlog. But this time we're not gonna look at some code. No, we're actually gonna look at a track that I've been working on and actually have a deep dive inside the music production software Ableton of a track called Savior. It's a track that you'll get to hear when you fight the final boss, so I thought it would be cool to have a look and a listen behind the scenes of one of the tracks of the soundtrack. Well then, this looks, I guess for the people that have been following the devlogs, quite a bit different to Blender and Unity. And it's because it's Ableton. This is the project and the program that I use for all the music in the game. And this is actually the program that I've been using all my life as a music producer, which is actually way longer than I'm a game developer. And what I want to show today, instead of going through all the tracks, I want to highlight a specific track, and that's a track that will be the final track when you fight against the main enemy of the game. And for this track, I really wanted to make it feel like when the track starts, it sounds like you look back a little bit about the journey that you've had, and you know that something big is gonna happen where you need to perform. And one thing back in the days really loved about Game of Thrones was there was, I believe, the Reigns of Castamere track when they finally introduced like a piano as the main centerpiece. For the soundtrack and for the game's album, I don't use pianos a lot, but I thought for this final track it would be really cool to set the tone with just the piano and then some background sound effects of some explosions. And that sounds like this. So really small, and it's a really nice contrast to everything that's been happening in all the other music, which you will most definitely hear really soon. And the cool thing is I didn't only want to have a piano, so I layered this piano actually with some fireworks, which normally I wouldn't do. And then with some distant boom effects, which makes it really a bit more atmospheric. And then, of course, I really wanted this track to build towards something. The way you need to see it, like this first section, this first break, is the anticipation before the battle. Then here comes the drop where the battle is happening. And then here comes a second break where the tension of the battle ramps up, where the boss enemy goes into a second phase and where you're really going towards the climax. So let's have a bit of a look into the progression of this first breakdown. And as you can hear, it builds up and it builds up and it's built up. And that's something that I really like to do with, not particularly this track, but also throughout the whole album and throughout the whole soundtrack. It's really make some contrast in the music, really make it feel that there are some transitions happening. And in this track, I do that with a lot of the modulation on the brass, which starts really, really slow. But it ends much more epic. Same with the strings, which do the same. They start really timid. And then, of course, we're walking towards that big enemy that we have to defeat. So there's a little bit of a transitional part, which is in dance music, of course, called the build-up. And then, of course, as you just heard, that's the main first drop, which I always like to keep in mind. Of course, don't make too much happening because there also needs to be room for your brain to see what's happening on screen. So in this case, one of the main sounds is actually, of course, the kick drum, which is quite simple. But then in combination with this cool bass sound. And then this little screamy bass. And then of course some synth work to make it really feel a bit more melodic. And then to top it off, again, a little bit of a choir. And then throughout this first section we build up and add more melodic elements. Of course, one time we bring back a part of the main melody. Let's see what that is. And one cool section actually, this is the second part, is this little string section. And you see all these things here, which are basically all effects. And once I take all of these off, that one doesn't do much. It will sound totally different. And what's really funny with this is actually an older version of the track had a different melody, which was, in this case, half tempo. And I thought I can morph this into something new, so I doubled the tempo of this. And then I added first an effect, which doesn't do much. Then I have an LFO tool to make it stutter. Then another effect. And then one thing I did here is that utility, I took away a bit of the width because I have a lot of things happening in the width of the track, so I didn't want to make it too all over the place. But hey, that might be a little bit too technical, so let's move on to the second part where there's a really cool sound in my opinion. Which, let's first listen to it. So, a lot of things happening. First thing I want to show you is this cool little moving plug. Which just brings a lot of tension, a lot of movement to the side of the stereo spectrum. Combine it with a bass line. And these small strings which come up. And that's just, I thought it was a really cool way to build some tension without doing too much. And then of course everything comes back, and basically the way you have to see this is like how we ended off here with the payoff not coming at the end. That's where we start here. And then we keep building, adding new layers. And then afterwards come these more moving strings. Oh, that's the piano. My bad. Where's the strings? I could just listen to these two things like for hours, but that's just me. But we don't have all hours, I don't want to waste your time. And then once you see, this track is all about building tension, releasing tension. It's like a wave which goes up and down. And then of course, we do a bit more battle, which we build towards the second drop, where I do a really cool stutter effect with the main vocal. actually brings everything together, like without the stutter and everything, it's just the main vocal. But then adding these small effects just makes it a bit more danceable. And that's basically how I made one of the tracks for the album and for the soundtrack of Inspire. And if you want to see more of these behind the scenes music videos, do let me know below in the comments, because then I will do more of these deep dives into the music. I'll probably do more anyways, because I really love to show what I've been working on all this time, because it's been like 3 years that I've been working on the game and also on the album, so it's super exciting for me to finally get the album to you guys. I hope you like this behind the scenes video of Inspire and the soundtrack of Inspire. If you want to do me a massive favor, make sure to wish this Inspire on Steam. It makes Steam know that there's interest in the game. I'm really close to announcing the release date. I'm currently actually making the final release trailer. So keep an eye out on the socials, and I hope you have all a wonderful day, and I can't wait for you all to play Inspire. Take care, bye bye.